Well, I think I have probably disappointed you who follow and listen Change Me podcasts regularly. Yeah, we haven't released an episode for quite some time. Yeah, but if I have disappointed you, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I'm kidding, anyways. So welcome back to Change Me podcast. It has been really quite some time, but I can say every day and every single time we try to find really good things, good content to bring on the platform. So that's why we have been going through some restructuring of the podcasts and repurposing the podcast as well, but with the main focus on bringing stories of change and stories of people who have overcame some troubles or difficult situations where I and everybody who listens to Change Me podcast can learn from. I'm really glad to share the updates on the podcast. I have thought about the podcast and realized that it's not only refugees who have really amazing stories to tell or who can bring interesting conversations, meaningful conversations on the platform. But I thought stories and stories of change exist everywhere from different people from different backgrounds, from different nationalities, from different continents, all walks of life. So stories exist, and I think me and you and whoever follows the podcast can learn something from those stories. So I have been repurposing the podcast to bring more voices on the platform, so we can have more diverse ideas and perspective, which is why we haven't released any episodes. We did not disappoint or overpromise and underdeliver, not really, but we try to bring always interesting conversation on the platform, which I think is very important than releasing contents which are not really meaningful or contents where we cannot learn anything from that. Yeah. So I'm happy to come back to sharing the stories of change and bringing more voices on the platform. But for the purpose of this podcast, this episode, it was to share the updates about the changes and growth of the platform and some of the amendments we have to make so we can bring more voices on the platform. Since we started bringing stories of refugees from different backgrounds, mostly those living in sub-Saharan Africa, refugee camps there, and it was amazing. I started sharing my story and also bringing other voices, which was really, really interesting, and I got some really good feedback from the people who listen and follow the podcasts, the conversations. So we are not here to stop. So we're here to continue sharing the stories and bringing more voices on the podcasts. That's why I say I probably have really interesting people who may or may not necessarily be refugees, but who have really amazing stories to share. And I thought why not give voices and give chances to other people to tell the stories and have meaningful conversations, because the purpose of this podcast is to share stories of change, and me and you can find something from the conversation and learn and apply or grow in any way or in different ways. Yeah, for today's episode, I'm really happy to share things have been or ideas I have been building and conversation I've been having with different people and different catch-ups of colleagues or friends. But I start with something I read in the book I think the first version of the book was written 1937 or something. Yeah, it's Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, mostly I would say disclaimer number one: this is applicable to young people, as it might also be applicable to adults or people in the late 50s or 40s or something. Yeah, but I found it really interesting for young people to read. Can give you some foundation and ideas on how you can start, have your desire and achieve your goals. But something struck me, which is the idea of sexual energy transmutation. I have never really learned something like that before. I didn't know that. After reading the chapter, I was like, I wish I knew this when I was 17. But unfortunately, it was like 10 years late. Yeah. But I thought this idea would have been so nice when I was 19, maybe when I was at my peak sexual energy, and then be able to transmute, because I think probably all the young people, we waste so much of the sexual energy because we most of the time we don't know how to transmute the energy, we don't know how to use it and be able to do amazing things. But I'm glad also I have been able to find out the idea, and I'm glad also to share with people and encourage the young people who follow the podcast to go also read. I don't care if you read that only single chapter, but go find it. Yeah. The chapter mostly is all about when you feel the energy, the sexual energy. It's not only that you have to use it in the physical expression of sex or whatever, but how can you try to transmute the energy not only into going in sexual application of the energy or release of the energy, but also try to use the energy to do things. Use it in your creative work, use it in your studies. If you're studying something, why don't you preserve that energy and try to use it? Preserving the energy is very important, but then if you don't use it, you will try to find a way to go out, to get released. The main point of sexual transmutation, sexual energy transmutation, it's more of I can feel the sexual energy build up into me, then how can I use it not only by going and say have sex and then the energy is released, but also use it into your creative work. If you are a graphic designer, use the energy, because when you have the energy, the brain is vibrating on high level. You feel the motivation, you feel energized. If you use that energy and into your creative work, if you have a graphic design work you're doing or a video you're editing, and you keep in mind you have that energy, but then you put that energy into that particular work, the result will be amazing. And I have also been able to notice this going to the gym. When you preserve the energy for quite some time, you feel the confidence when you pick the 100-pound or 120-pound dumbbell. You feel it and you push it because you feel the energy. You feel the energy being released in other ways other than the normal one of having sex, and then the energy is released. It's noticeable for sure. I can say this, but I insist one more time. I wish I knew the idea when I was 17 or something, but I'm glad I've been able to know the idea and apply it. It's never too late to know something, but I was amazed on how it's very it's less known to different people, to different young people, at least to those people I know. And also maybe some people know the idea but they don't apply it. But if you consciously apply the idea of sexual energy transmutation, you feel it, and you can understand. Yeah, now I know. Yeah. So the summary of the idea is try to have that sexual energy being used in a different way other than releasing the energy through physical sexual activities, but rather use that energy in your creative work, in your job, in your athletic endeavors, in your businesses. It will create the amazing result, because when you have the energy, the brain is vibrating on a high level, I would say. As Napoleon Hill said, it's connected to the infinite intelligence. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing idea. I have to admit I loved it. I loved the book, but also I have to admit I appreciated the idea from that book, and it's quite a nice book. I recommend to people who are still trying to find the purpose in life, as I am as well. And trust me, I haven't found my purpose yet. But I keep looking. It's the story of man's search for meaning. It's I am still on the journey. But one thing I have decided, I said I will try to document, let me say, my journey as much as possible, which I think is the reason why I have started this podcast, maybe to share my story, but also try to bring other people's stories on the platform. I'm in the journey, but I enjoy it. I'm enjoying it. Whether I meet some challenges, I enjoy it. It's a journey, I understand. But I try to document it as much as possible. Yeah, which is when back in 2020, when I started the initiative ABF, Act for a Better Future, to try to help fellow young refugees to access scholarships and life lessons, trainings, life skills training, and also have a life mentorship, and help them to apply on the different scholarships available. We quite had an amazing success there. And until today, people still give testimony of what we have been able to help them to do. I think I was having a meeting with the team, 11 of us, and we had a call talking about the future of ABF. But I said one thing: listen, I am struggling, even if I'm leading the team, trying to motivate myself and also motivate the rest of the team. I am struggling. But one thing for sure I can promise you, we are in this together. We are in this journey. It's more or less, usually people live their life, and then after the end of their life, when they have figured out it all together, then they write a book, an amazing book. This is how I have been able to figure it out. But I told my team, listen, this is not easy, and we have signed up for this. But take it as if we are living the life and at the same time writing the book. We live the life and document everything so that we don't miss anything. At the end, we are not going to write a book, but we will going to release chapters. This is what happened, actually. You guys saw this, but this is what was going on. And it's an amazing journey for young people. I can tell you, I'm 28 years old now, but still trying to figure out life, and it's never-ending journey. It's a challenging one, but I keep myself motivated because I know in the end you will look back and say, "Oh yeah, wow, this is why. This is everything. Now I can see it." But if yeah, usually they say you live the life forward, but you connected the dots backward. You live it, but yeah, no, later you will understand why things happened. So the journey of life for young people, it's an amazing one. But if you dare to embark on the journey and say I'm determined to find out why I'm here and what I'm capable of doing, and I'm sure you will end up finding. And I'm on the same journey as everybody. So I encourage whoever's listening. We are in this together. We can do it. We can do it. It's an amazing journey, I would say. My life changed so much and rotated so much from 2014, 15 up until today, and possibly will amend and change and grow and be different things. But I'm not afraid of leaving it. Yeah. Yeah, I encourage everybody to continue living their life, and later you will connect the dots looking backward. Yep. The second point, the second idea I was interested in sharing today. It's I actually had an amazing phone call. I have this friend of mine. She's called Nadia. She's working with one of the United Nations organization, and she's an amazing friend. We met in 2020, yeah, around October, when I was working as a consultant with Mesoshalom International in Rwanda. So we met and we had an amazing friendship, and until today we still connect once in a while and have amazing phone calls, for 3 hours or 2 hours or 4 hours. It's interesting, but we haven't talked for quite some time. But today we had a catch up call for 3 hours something, and I loved it. I like talking to her. We discuss ideas instead of discussing people. We try to give advice to each other and ask questions. We really have fun calling and talking. But today we discussed something very important. She was telling me how she has been trying to find a job. Things happen, then they have to restructure. She lost the job, and then she spent around 6 months to get a new job. But then she told me something, and I can relate because I'm in almost in the same journey, same process. So she had an idea. Okay, this is what I want. This is the job I want. I want it within this organization, this industry. That's it. She's quite stubborn, and yeah. But then she was like, I had a supervisor, manager, who will tell me, hey, did you see some posts? Did you see this kind of job and this? Did you apply? Or something like that? Or the supervisor will be like, yeah, I recommended you to this job, you should apply. And I have talked how amazing you are. And she'll be like, but this is not what I want. But the manager insisted, or the supervisor insisted, look, try to apply on as many jobs as possible, whether those you like and those you don't like, because you don't know if you like or if you will like those jobs you feel like you don't like unless you do them. And then she was like, okay, let me give it a try and apply and see. The thing is, she would apply on the jobs she wanted, and she would get rejected. She'll get rejected 1, 2, 3. And I was like, no, but why? So the supervisor would like, look, try to do to apply on other jobs or those positions. Then she applied. She eventually got the job. The one she didn't want, but then later the supervisor explained, look, listen, you don't understand. Most of those positions you want, they have almost 100% responsibility in this only field. But this one, 60% responsibility will be in this field, and then 40% will be in the field you want, the field you like, the field you wanted. So, which means you have an advantage over somebody who is only focused on one field. But for you, you will have an amazing experience into those two fields. Uh, the one you wanted, 40%, and another one you feel like you don't want, 60%. And she was amazed to find out that she thought the job is 100% the other field she doesn't like, but it was not. It was not true. The truth was, it was divided into two pieces. So my take from the story, or how she told me, she was like, sometimes people will see you and say, yeah, I can see he or she's too ambitious and she or he want this, but obviously he or she has no idea of what's included within the package. And then people will have to say, hey, look, do this, and I promise you're not going to regret. So I can advise you, to do this. And she eventually had the job, had the position, and she was like, really, if you feel like you don't want something or you don't like it and you have some other preferences, try that. Try that you feel like you don't want. You never know. You never know what's gonna happen. You never know what's included within the package, because no one has ever told you that. You will find out. And also she told me when I was finishing up my high school, I wanted to go study medicine, and I felt like, yeah, this is what I want to study and be a doctor and everything. But she was like, I'm glad I didn't go there. I'm glad I didn't go to study medicine, but studied psychology and things. And I related also to the story. When I finished my high school, I wanted to go and do computer science. Yeah, go into math and physics and programming and everything. But then after going to Kepler, after studying in this program, this amazing Southern New Hampshire University program in management, focusing on operations and logistics, I couldn't wish myself to go to study computer science and have that narrow focus on computer science. Really, I really appreciate it. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm not trained into something specific, but I'm glad I didn't go to the computer science class and spend 4 years studying computer science. Yeah. So sometimes you feel like you want something until you experience or you go into something else, and it's life changing. It's life changing sometimes. Yeah, I'm glad I did not go there, and she was glad she did not go to study medicine. The final point, or the final idea for today was, recently I have been into consuming knowledge on finance and investing, and I was interested on the stock market and the related security things, but I was more interested in knowing how it started and how it is going, how it has been, and what experts or people in the industry say about the future of finance and investing and stock market and things. So I have learned a lot of things from this amazing book of Tony Robbins. Money Master the Game, I couldn't recommend this book more to different people, mostly the people who have been working for quite some time, who have accumulated some cash, and who are willing to build the financial independence and be free, I would say, but also have a margin of trying things, a margin of exposing a big percentage of their money to afford some risks. But first of all, it's a field where you have to consume a lot of knowledge, so you will be able to make informed decisions. Otherwise, you can't beat those guys on their own game. So, well, one point on this idea, or this point of finance and investing, is more of getting informed and also having your purpose defined. Why am I going into investing? What is my goal? What do I have to achieve? Not anybody else's goal, but your own purpose. Why you're doing that? But I recommend somebody who have been accumulated, or who have been accumulating some savings, who have been saving for quite some time, and get some information about the stock market and the investing, and later you will try to take some risks and have fun. You can also design your portfolio. I did have an idea that that money we put into pension, the hedge fund managers, they are using the money on stock market. They are investing the money we gave them. The money is sitting there. They take the money and go use the money, and we regularly pay on a yearly basis fees on the money they are using. So look, it's like I give you my money and I will pay you some fees every year so you can invest the money. When you lose money, well, I will lose, but when we gain, I will gain as well. So it's like you own the downside and also the upside, the portion of the upside, because you own 100% of the downside in most of the funds that invest our money, but own partially the upside, because you have to share with the manager of the fund, the index fund, the hedge fund. It's interesting. I didn't know that you can, in some countries, say, well, listen, I want my money to be invested into this index fund because it pays less fees and less charges compared to this one. I didn't know you can do that, and I didn't know how the stock market works. Imagine you see a company is on a stock exchange, let's say Euronext, Brussels, and then the company's share is on 95 euro, and then tomorrow the CEO goes on television and say something horrible. Let's say he's a person or she's a person, then he or she says something, and then the stock market falls down. Well, first of all, nothing have changed about the business. There is no machinery was sold. If the company own buildings, the buildings are still there. If the company had 10,000 employees, they still have 10,000 employees. Nothing changed. The profit is still the same. The cash flow is still the same. But the stock market falls down. Why? Just the CEO said something and then the stock market. it's interesting. If you try to analyze and think about that, it's like, well, so is it real? Is it real or it's fake? No, well, I wouldn't say it's fake, but it's numbers. Its numbers does not reflect most of the time of the value of the company or the value of the business. And if you follow enough the stock market and the market, you will definitely make some profit out of that. I remember when I don't have the exact numbers now, but Elon Musk went on Joe Rogan Experience, this podcast, the number one podcast in the world, and then he went there and then he smoked weed. I think was it 2018 or 2020? I don't remember exactly, but then the Tesla stock went down because he went there. The Elon Musk went there and smoked weed live on Joe Rogan, and then shareholders were like, "Well, listen, you can't do that because the share of the share price of the company will go down." But I was like, he went there, he smoked weed and nothing else. He did not do anything about the business, but the stock price went down about the company. So nothing changed about the company, only that he went there, smoked weed, marijuana on live on a podcast. So it's interesting. I'm not going to talk much about this field. I'm not an expert for sure. I'm learning, but recently I'm interested in the field to understand how it works, and who knows, the field grabbed my attention, and we never know. But what I can say is that I have basic knowledge and equipped, but I still need more time consuming knowledge into that from the field, and possibly get some real world application of the skill. But I'm interested if somebody wants to talk more about this. I have ideas on how to design a portfolio and possibly on how to well manage it, but I'm not an expert. I can mouth words or what I have been able to understand from different sources of knowledge I've consumed. Anyways, it was really nice to come back on the podcast, and sure, soon enough I'll bring more voices on the podcast on the platform to discuss different ideas and have meaningful conversation and share stories of change. I'm really excited. I will never let you down. I will never let you down, my listeners. So thank you so much for listening, everybody. Bye bye.
Get up, get up.